Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. In a world obsessed with noise, louder voices, sharper comebacks, and endless opinions, what if the most powerful move you could make was silence? What if your ability to read a room, control your energy, and radiate unshakable presence could give you the upper hand in any situation without saying a single word? This video is not about manipulation, it's about mastery. It's about commanding respect through emotional intelligence, developing a masculine edge that speaks volumes without noise, and using ancient wisdom and modern psychology to make others feel your power without having to prove it. Whether it's in business, love, or life, the men who win the long game are not the loudest. They are the ones who understand human behavior, who sharpen their intuition like a weapon, and who never need to raise their voice to raise their value. So if you're ready to learn how to outsmart anyone without saying a word, through presence, discipline, silence, and deep insight, then this journey is for you. This isn't just a video, this is a blueprint for masculine mastery. Let's begin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join the Stoic Golden Tribe, and drop a comment below to let us know which part speaks to you most. Chapter 1. The silent language of power. In every room you enter, a conversation is already happening, even if no one is speaking. It's the subtle shift in posture when someone important walks in. The momentary glance of respect. The silence that follows presence. You've felt it before. That man who walks into a space and commands it, not with noise, but with stillness. No words, no tricks, just presence. That's not an accident. It's a language, spoken without speaking. And those who master it, win. This is the beginning of outsmarting others without uttering a single word. Understanding that your silence speaks for you. Let's be clear. Outsmarting isn't about outwitting, it's about becoming undeniable in who you are. Presence isn't built by talking more, it's built by being more, by embodying depth, stillness, and discipline. When you walk into a room, people should feel like a storm just entered, not because you're loud, but because you're anchored. The truth is, most people are frantic. They move fast, talk fast, think fast, and collapse under the weight of their own restlessness. But a man who is calm, observant, grounded, he becomes a mirror. And mirrors don't chase, they reflect. The man who can sit in silence and still hold the attention of others is the man who understands one of the oldest rules in the game of power. Never explain, never complain, just exist with presence. While others are talking, guessing, reacting, you are watching, you're reading body language, you're measuring intentions, you're noticing who needs attention and who commands it. This is what emotional intelligence truly means. Not just being in touch with your feelings, but being able to read the emotional currents in a room like a seasoned sailor reads the waves. Want to outsmart someone? Don't argue, don't compete for dominance. Let them talk, let them reveal themselves. The man who listens sees everything. People will always tell on themselves, especially when they think you're not paying attention. But you are. You're listening not just to their words, but to what their body says when their ego speaks. In love, silence is your sharpest weapon. Not passive aggression, not withdrawal, but controlled silence. The kind that says, I am present, but I do not need to chase. I can feel you, but I will not lose myself for you. Women test men to feel their edge. They push, they probe, not out of cruelty, but instinct. They want to feel your center. And when you react, over-explain, or try to please, you've lost that center. You've become predictable. Software. But when you remain calm, when you hold space instead of giving it away, when you meet her emotions without collapsing under them, you become unforgettable. You become rare. Because the modern man is addicted to validation. The Stoic man, he's addicted to mastery. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. And nothing reveals this faster than the man who talks too much. Men who feel the need to prove themselves with words are already insecure. But the man who controls his tongue, who speaks with precision, and who knows when to say nothing, he is the most dangerous man in the room. Silence is never empty. It's full of decisions, intentions, and direction. When you stop trying to impress, you begin to attract. When you stop trying to be heard, people start listening. We live in an age of oversharing. People post every thought, every meal, every feeling. They trade mystery for attention and attention for self-worth. But the men who rise, they cultivate mystery, they operate in shadows. They don't need to announce their next move because their last move still echoes in the room. If you want to outsmart anyone without saying a word, learn to become comfortably silent in a world that fears stillness. Silence isn't weakness, silence is strength wrapped in discipline. Here are a few simple but powerful shifts you can start practicing today. 1. Eye contact. Hold it slightly longer than comfortable. Let people feel your depth. 2. Posture. Own your space. Shoulders relaxed, chest open, spine straight. You are grounded. 3. Facial expression. Master the subtle half smile. Calm, controlled, a bit unreadable. 4. Move. Slowly. Rushed. Movement screams insecurity. Stillness signals control. 5. Silence in conflict. When provoked, wait 3 seconds before responding. Those seconds say, I am choosing how to lead this moment. Each of these actions communicates more than paragraphs ever could. Comment blue. My silence speaks louder than noise. Chapter 2. Outsmarting through energy control. Outsmarting others without speaking isn't just about presence or posture, it's about energy, because every human interaction is an exchange of energy, and the one who controls the energy controls the outcome. You don't need a sharp tongue or clever phrases to win a moment. You need emotional stability. You need control over your inner weather. That's how men lead without force, and influence without effort. In this chapter, we dive deep into a rare skill that separates weak men from powerful ones: the ability to regulate and command your energy in any situation. In conflict, in love, in business, you become the thermostat, not the thermometer. Let's be honest, most men are reactive. Say something disrespectful to them and they explode. Ghost them and they chase. Disagree with them and they try to convince or correct. You want to outsmart anyone without saying a word? Do not react. Instead, observe, absorb, and adjust. Reactiveness is emotional immaturity. It shows others exactly how to push your buttons, and once they know where those buttons are, they own your energy. You've given them the blueprint to control you, but when you remain unshaken, when your face stays calm, your voice stays low, and your body stays relaxed, you become unreadable. And unreadable men are dangerous. In romantic relationships, energy control is everything. Women don't always listen to your words, they feel your energy. If your voice says, I'm calm, but your body is anxious, she senses it. If you say, I trust you, but your eyes are searching for validation, she feels it. You can't fake energy. She knows when you're off-center, even if you don't. Here's what most men don't understand. You don't need to convince her to stay. You need to be a man who is so deeply grounded that your silence feels safer than another man's flattery. If she pulls away and you chase, she loses attraction. If she tests you and you break, she loses respect. But when she sees you staying in your frame, feeling your emotions without reacting to them, she starts leaning back in. Because the man who can stay emotionally regulated, especially during emotional storms, is the man she trusts with her body, her mind, and her heart. The world will constantly try to pull you out of your masculine frame, from politics to petty arguments, from social media bait to relationship drama. The pressure to react is everywhere, but a strong man withholds. He doesn't respond to everything. He doesn't explain himself unless it's necessary. He doesn't give his attention just because someone demands it. What you withhold, your time, your energy, your reactions, has power. This doesn't mean you suppress. It means you own it. You don't hide your emotions, you harness them. The strongest men feel anger, sadness, frustration, desire, but they choose how and when to release it. Control is the mark of evolution. Let's go back to feudal Japan, where samurai warriors trained not only in combat but in presence. Before battle, they would sit in stillness, meditate, breathe, observe. Why? Because they knew the greatest killer of clarity is emotion. A single burst of fear, a moment of anger, a flash of pride, and you could lose your life. They trained themselves to remain emotionally empty before the strike. No fear, no noise, no panic. Just presence. That's how they lived, and that's how they won. You don't need a sword to carry that spirit today. You need discipline over your emotional energy. You don't raise your voice, you raise your vibration. In many situations, the smartest move is not to release tension, but to hold it. Let's say someone insults you in front of others. The old version of you might fire back instantly to defend yourself. But the evolved man? He holds the tension. He lets the silence thicken. He watches, and suddenly it's not you under pressure. It's them. Holding tension is a secret weapon. In negotiation, in attraction, in leadership, the man who can hold tension without needing to escape it always has the advantage. The weak man needs release. The strong man decides when to release. We live in an overstimulated age. Notifications, opinions, likes, arguments, it's endless noise. And this constant stimulation makes men weak. Why? Because they become addicted to reaction. You see a comment you disagree with, you reply. Someone ignores you, you spiral. She doesn't text back, you send 3 messages. This is not power. This is slavery. But if you can detach from external stimulation, if you can hold your center while the world spins, you'll walk into rooms and own them, not because you said anything, but because your energy is different, controlled, calm, commanding. If you want to build unshakable energy, practice these habits. 1. Cold showers teaches your body how to stay calm under stress. 2. Daily stillness, 10 minutes a day of silence, no phone, just you. 3. Breath control. In conflict, slow your breathing. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. 4. No reaction rule. Choose 1 moment daily where you don't respond, just observe. 5. Masculine journaling. Write without filtering. Let emotions out on the page, not people. These aren't trends, they're training. Every day, you train your nervous system to stop overreacting, and the calmer you become, the more powerful your silence becomes. Drop a comment below. My calmness is my control. Chapter 3. The Art of Unreadability, Becoming the Mystery. There's one thing that makes people pay attention to you without a word. Mystery. The most magnetic men are unreadable, not confusing, but layered. They don't put everything on display. They don't overshare. They don't rush to fill silence with noise. And because of that, people are drawn to them like gravity. This is the next level of silent power, becoming a mystery in a world that overshares. And it's one of the smartest ways to outsmart everyone around you, because while they're broadcasting their every move, you're building leverage in silence. Think about the last person who truly intrigued you. Was it because they explained everything about themselves? Or was it because something about them felt controlled, centered, unknown? That's the key. People don't chase clarity, they chase curiosity. When you're unreadable, people fill in the blanks with imagination, and most of the time, what they imagine is more powerful than anything you could have said. Unreadable men can't be manipulated. Why? Because you never know what they're thinking. You never know what they'll do next. You can't predict them, and that makes people nervous and respectful. In relationships, being unreadable doesn't mean being distant or emotionally cold. It means you don't always explain yourself. You don't over-validate. You don't give her your entire inner world before she's earned it. This creates polarity. It keeps the tension alive. It shows her that while you're present and available, you're not desperate to be understood. You are comfortable in your own mystery. When a woman can predict your every move, she may feel safe, but not excited. But when your silence holds layers she hasn't explored yet, she leans in. She invests. She respects you. The mistake most men make is this. They think being honest means being exposed, but in truth, honesty and privacy can coexist. Be honest, be real, but don't be exhaustingly available. Let her wonder. Let her feel your strength in what you don't say. The most powerful, unreadable men don't speak in riddles. They carry mystery in their body language. Face, calm, slightly amused, never needy. Eyes, focused, observant, not darting around like you're scanning for approval. Hands, still, purposeful, never fidgeting. Voice, low and deliberate when you do speak. No rush, no urgency. You're not hiding, you're just not trying to sell yourself. And that, in a world of people begging to be seen, is magnetic. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, but also one of the most emotionally unreadable leaders in history. He didn't rage, he didn't boast, he didn't reveal his inner world to the Senate. He journaled his struggles privately, trained his emotions daily, and remained centered in the middle of war, betrayal, and chaos. His power was in how little he revealed and how much he knew. Unreadable, but not disconnected. Stoic, but deeply present. That's what you want to become. A man who holds layers and reveals them with intention, not impulse. In today's digital world, men are under constant pressure to turn their life into a performance. Post your thoughts, record your reaction, share your plans. But every time you give the world more of your private mind, you give away your power, because now they can study you, predict you, manipulate you. The man who plays his cards too early never wins the long game. Learn to keep parts of yourself sacred. Let your next move shock them. Let your silence confuse them. You're not hiding, you're building in silence. And when it's time to speak or move, the impact is 10 times greater. One of the most misunderstood pieces of advice is, just be yourself. But here's the truth, you don't owe all of yourself to everyone. Some people haven't earned your vulnerability, some women haven't earned your soul, some friends haven't earned your full story. This is not arrogance, this is standards. And when you raise your standards for who gets access to your emotions, your thoughts, and your time, you elevate your energy. Now people start wondering, what's on his mind? What's his next move? Why does he seem so certain? Let them guess. The man they can't read is the man they can't control. You don't need to fake mystery, you need to practice restraint. 1. Don't overshare. Keep your goals private. Let results speak. 2. Delay your reactions. Let tension build. Speak only when it adds value. 3. Master the art of the pause. In conversation, let a pause hang. It forces others to lean in. 4. Minimal social media. Post less. Show less. Let your life be felt, not flaunted. 5. Say no without explaining. You owe no lengthy justification. Your no is complete. When you practice this kind of control, you become magnetic. Not for the attention you chase, but for the power you radiate. Comment below. Let them wonder. I owe no explanation. Chapter 4. Power in Precision. When you finally speak. Let's make something clear. Silence is not about never speaking. It's about choosing your moments. And when a man who rarely speaks finally opens his mouth, people listen. Why? Because his words are earned, weighted, intentional. Outsmarting people without saying a word only works when your first words, when finally spoken, shift the entire atmosphere. That's when you stop being a mystery and start becoming a leader. Most men talk to fill space. They ramble, over-explain, justify, and the more they talk, the more they leak power. But the high-value man? He speaks with precision. He uses silence as punctuation. He pauses before answering. He doesn't fear empty space. He controls it. Want to make your words count? Speak like they cost you something. Because in the mind of a powerful man, they do. In romantic relationships, your words should build, not beg. She doesn't need endless convincing. She needs clarity, depth, truth, and strength behind your tone. Speak in affirmations, not explanations, instead of, "I'm sorry, I just don't want to fight." Say, "I'm not here to argue, I'm here to understand," instead of, "I just don't want to lose you." Say, "I'm grounded in who I am, and I welcome those who see that." This isn't cold, it's centered. When you stop using your words for approval and start using them for direction, your entire dynamic shifts. Seneca once said, "Speech is a mirror of the mind. If your words are chaotic, it means your mind is." So before you speak, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Is it true? 2. Is it necessary? 3. Is it powerful? If the answer isn't yes to at least 2 of those, stay silent. Because there is power in restraint, but there is impact in precision. In today's world, men are pressured to perform, talk louder, be funnier, show confidence, sell yourself. But real strength doesn't perform, it anchors. And anchored men don't need a stage, they create presence just by walking into a room. They know when to listen, they know when to pause, and when they do speak, people adjust. This is your final layer of silent mastery, not just being unreadable or calm, but being deliberate. When your words come from alignment, not anxiety, your presence becomes unforgettable. You don't speak to win arguments, you speak to offer clarity. You don't speak to get applause, you speak to set direction. You don't speak to control people, you speak to control yourself, and others respond to that. Leadership isn't about volume, it's about vision, and vision is best delivered in simple, grounded language. One sentence of truth is more powerful than 1,000 pleas for attention. In the end, the man who outsmarts everyone isn't the one with the sharpest tongue. It's the man who stays silent long enough to see the truth, who speaks only when it matters, and who walks away when most men would try to prove a point. Because power isn't proven, it's felt. Comment below, I speak with power, not permission.